US and Iran accuse each other of ruining the world as they send top diplomats to Latin America. The US and Iran have accused one another of fostering global instability as both countries sent their top diplomats to Latin America. Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif ended his New York trip late Friday as he left for Venezuela, whose socialist government was backed by the Islamic Republic in spite of attempts by a US-led coalition of countries to install an opposition leader. Once in Caracas, Zarif blamed Washington for sparking unrest not only in the Persian Gulf, where incidents involving drones and oil tankers have brought the region to the brink of conflict, but also Latin America. Wherever between the US and Iran worsened after President Donald Trump's decision to withdraw from a 2015 nuclear deal that granted Tehran sanctions relief in exchange for the country agreeing to significantly curb its nuclear activities. Iran complied. 1 year later, the US began to send additional military assets to the Middle East to deter what it claimed was heightened threats posed by Iran. Around this same time, the effort ultimately failed and Washington swiftly placed the blame on foreign powers such as China, Russia, and Iran, who have continued to recognize Maduro as president and supported his administration amid an economic crisis exacerbated by US sanctions. In the months since, Venezuela's opposing factions have entered into talks and the US appeared to shift its foreign policy focus toward Iran, accusing it of targeting commercial vessels transporting oil in the Gulf of Oman as Tehran began to enrich its uranium stockpile beyond levels outlined in the deal that Washington abandoned. On Friday, however, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo also headed to Latin America. After landing in While the European Union, France, Germany, and the United Kingdom have supported aid at the same time as Russia and China backed Maduro in Venezuela, all of these powers still backed the Iran nuclear deal they signed in 2015 and have condemned the US exit. Moscow and Beijing, in particular, with deliberately ratcheting up tensions with Tehran as its economy was wrecked by unilaterally imposed trade restrictions. In the most recent instances of turmoil in the Persian Gulf, Trump claimed Thursday that the U.S. Navy shot down an Iranian drone allegedly harassing one of its warships and, hours after Iran's Revolutionary Guards released footage Friday purported to disprove the president's claim, the elite group accused of turning off its transponder as it passed through the Strait of Hormuz. The move came weak, unlike U.S. related articles.
Raindrop, drip, drop top, top smoking, no cooking the hot bar. I get fucking on your bitch, yeah, that.